Lounge 193. Travis Grins here. Marcus Traxler there. Nathan Stacking with his Sunday ice cream. What do we got this week? More of the same, or what do we got?
Apple pie blizzard is the only way to go.
Go it over and over. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Charlie Hildebrand.
Only way to go, pumpkin pie, you dummy.
Oh, Stacking's like that comedian that's got that one really good joke and just keeps telling it over and over and over again.
Now, don't get me wrong, pumpkin pie is good, but this apple pie, I mean, my God. Few things in life are better. And one thing would be being on this show.
Look at that. High praise indeed. Charlie Hildebrand, a teal shirt, it appears. A teal shirt, so that's good to see. Well, I suppose we start with the World Series since that's going on. And Nathan Stacking very pleased that his Chicago Cubs are down 3-1. They do have Lester tonight, Arrieta on Tuesday, maybe, and then Hendricks in a Game 7 situation against Corey Kluber. Nathan Stacking, what have you seen from this World Series so far?
I've seen the Cubs not be able to get much of anything going offensively, get anything going with their bats, apart from Game 2. Corey Kluber has been dominant. And I've seen the Indians use Andrew Miller a lot, and I have to be thinking that they are hoping and praying that his arm doesn't fall off before they can win the fourth game of this World Series. They've had clutch hitting, whether it be from Coco Crisp or any other, Santana, anybody like that, Kipnis. This has been a very good World Series for the Indians, and I think it actually speaks better or speaks more of what Terry Francona has done now. What is he, 12 or 11-1 as a manager in the World Series? So he knows what to do in this situation. And I'm not saying that Joe Madden doesn't, but the Cubs are a young team, and I feel like it's kind of like the projection that we were going with Andrew Luck and the Colts. You get to that first round, and then you get to the round after the next year. The World Series the year after. I think next year is the year for the Cubs. But
so if we go the luck route, that means that next year they're going to go like 62-100 then?
Exactly. Different from the Colts and Andrew Luck. I do think the Cubs will win the World Series next year, but I think it is just an overall kind of experience. This year you gotta get that, and right now the Indians are a little better prepared, a little better pitching, and so far it's worked out for them.
Marcus, were you surprised that Andrew Miller pitched last night?
No, not really. I mean, the game was in hand, but I don't think you can really take anything for granted in the World Series. He's their best guy. In the sports lounge, it's the official opinion of the lounge that your best pitchers should pitch as much as possible in the postseason. So I'm okay with it.
Buck Showalter doesn't agree with that.
No. Not a lounge watcher, not a lounge fan.
It's the whole reason that Jim Palmer came out of retirement to play for the Orioles again, because he was their best guy. So that's why they brought him back. And it didn't work, but you got to applaud him for trying to do it that
They
way.
did. Charlie, Cubs have the best starting pitching, but Cleveland, they really don't have any starting pitching outside of Corey Kluber. And they got things like Josh Tomlin and Trevor Bauer trying to start games here. And some
guy who cut his hand on a goddamn drone.
That's right. And some guy that nobody ever heard of, who had pitched 8 innings ever, pitched a game against Toronto and did fine. So it's bullpen versus starters, and it seems like the bullpen has been the advantage towards Cleveland. Are you surprised that Chicago, they got the best offense in baseball, and they cannot do anything against anybody?
I mean, a little bit, but we've seen this in sports before. I mean, over the last 40, 50 years, in the major sports at least, it seems like great defense usually beats great offense. So, I mean, I'm not surprised, or let's put it this way. I'm surprised to the extent of how poorly the Cubs' offense has been, but I'm not surprised it's not as good as it was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Marcus, do you see any changes that the Cubs are going to make in the offseason? Chapman may not be back if they don't want to sign him. I mean, they're a young team. Every spot is set. I don't know really what they could do. Maybe bullpen, and that's about it.
I was going to say bullpen. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they don't have. I mean, in comparison to the Indians, they definitely don't have the guys they can absolutely turn to. So bullpen's probably the glaring issue. But you look at that pitching rotation's nice. That lineup is even better, probably. So it's crazy that it's, I guess it's crazy, but it's also not. We see this almost every year where teams just kind of fall off offensively in the postseason, and that happens. Will the Cubs be able to turn it around in time to sort of save the series? I don't know, but it seems like they've got the guys to do it, so to speak.
Nathan Stacken, Kyle Schwarber, could you find a spot on the field for him? Could he play first base? Could he do something? He's not cleared, but he did well in the first 2 games as a DH.
He did.
Could he play first base? Could you put Rizzo in the outfield or do something? Because Cleveland put Carlos Santana in the outfield, and first time all year he was ever been in the outfield, and that was fine. Are you okay with their cautious approach with Schwarber, considering his ACL?
I don't know how healthy he really is, but if he is even on like 50, if he's 50%, 60%, and he's able to hit that way, that's very, very impressive. I don't know if they think that obviously they think playing him would risk further injury, and if that would maybe make next season, put that in doubt, then I understand. He's young. It's not like he's in that this is his last chance at a World Series, so I understand their cautious approach. But
it could be his last chance at a World Series.
It could. You're very right. It could. But I understand where they're coming from, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like with the best pitchers. You want your best pitchers throwing. You kind of want your best players on the field, and certainly it seems like the Cubs could use him because he has been a spark plug for this team thus far.
I think it's a bit dangerous to play him in the field. So I'm perfectly fine with him basically only being a designated hitter in the series, which it's amazing that he's used. And considering that, to me, I'm sort of in what was we're in agreement with what was said earlier. This is a long-term thing with the Cubs. I don't think this is a one-year shot. So I wouldn't be willing to risk it all right now just to have Schwarber back in there and maybe turn the series around.
The rumors were that Kyle Schwarber could possibly be traded for Andrew Miller or somebody else, and they ended up with Aroldis Chapman. There's not a whole lot of spots for Schwarber. He's a former catcher. He can play outfield. He's not very good at outfield. He is a DH first base type body. Charlie, should they trade Kyle Schwarber for whether it's pitching, probably more pitching, or something else? Or should they keep this guy that seems like he's more fitted to be a DH in the other league?
My gut reaction would be trade him, but whatever they do, it seems like Theo Epstein's pretty good at making good roster moves based off previous stops. So whatever they decide, I'm assuming it'll probably work out well for them.
Now that we know Cleveland's up 3-1, what happens, Charlie?
I hope that, I don't know, I've got mixed feelings. Because part of it, I got offended and angry in only the way sports fans can get offended and angry for poor reasons that shouldn't matter at all. When people started saying that this is such a big deal, it'll be the first time Chicago's won, the city of Chicago's had a World Series, and it's like, well, what about the White Sox? It was just 11 years ago. They were plenty good. And as a White Sox fan, I didn't like that, so I'm all in against the Cubs. Part of me kind of wants Chicago to win tonight so Cleveland can win it in Cleveland. Because I think it would be funny if, in the year of Cleveland sports, they win 2 titles, but both of them are on the road. I don't think ultimately that's going to be a big difference. I think they just care that they won. And so, I'm going to say that somehow the Cubs win tonight, Cleveland wins in 6, and then we just keep looking around thinking, God, how have all these other teams turned things around and the Browns are still this awful?
I am on record. I've jumped off the Jaguars bandwagon.
Jaguars.
Did you jump off it, or when they crashed, were you flung from it, and you just figured there was no point in walking all the way back towards the wreckage?
He was flung off the bandwagon like Jose Fernandez.
I was drowning in the cabana, and yes, kind of like Jose Fernandez, I was drowning in the cabana, but someone has rescued me and dropped me in the mistake by the lake. I think that Cleveland is on the verge of putting something really good together. Here, I like a lot of their young talent. Terrell Pryor has been a very nice surprise for them. I think the Browns.
I swear to God, you were talking about the Indians. I swear to God, you were talking about the Indians.
This whole time.
I was like, what?
I was putting something good together. Aren't they just a game away from winning the World Series?
No, I'm talking about getting off the Jaguars. I think you said the Browns can't get anything right. I think this Browns team is a playoff team in about 3 years.
No.
What's your World Series pick, Stacking? 4 games in.
Indians in 6.
Would you want to make it a sweep there, Larry? Indians in 6.
I honestly think it ends tonight.
It ends tonight with who the hell
I'm
is
not
pitching?
sure why,
Bauer? How
but-
many does he go? What does he do tonight?
What are we talking about?
Trevor Bauer, Fingers Bauer, 4 Fingers Bauer.
I think it's a relatively short outing, and they just go to the bullpen. I expect it to be relatively low scoring. I feel like this series is either going to end tonight, 5 games, or it will end in 7 games. If it gets to a 7th game, it could be the Cubs, it could be Cleveland, but
Might be Toronto.
It could be Toronto. It could be Oakland Athletics coming in out of nowhere. So I want to go back to what Charlie said about people forgetting that the White Sox were in the World Series in 2005.
To be fair, sometimes I forget that my own White Sox won the World Series.
I just like the people who are like, yeah, that doesn't count. They're just like, no, screw the White Sox. It doesn't count.
Well, the deal was,
whatever. But yeah, I mean, obviously it did happen. But I do like the people that are just total deniers with the fully knowing that it did happen 11 years ago.
Yes.
I ain't agreeing with Stafford, but I do think that that much like the Red Sox, you have to have ultimate failure before you are able to succeed. If we remember 2003 Red Sox getting home runned on by Aaron Boone, that was pretty painful in the championship series. So I think losing all 3 games at Wrigley Field in the World Series would be pretty painful, and I think the Indians win the series tonight.
You know, it's also painful, the fine folks of Chicago going to these bars and getting hit with $300 cover charges or
Is that
$100
correct?
cover
Is that
charges.
right?
Can I just say, though, if you're going down to Wrigleyville, you're going there with that in mind. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
you know you're going to spend that kind of money if you can't see the game inside the stadium. So,
And if you don't want to do it, then don't go. Watch it on TV.
yeah, I mean, there's literally thousands of bars in the Chicagoland area that are not right next to Wrigley Field that you could watch the games from.
Wait, that's not. I thought that's not where every bar in the city is.
No.
I need
No.
to recalculate and configure some stuff in my head then.
I only thought that there were like 10 bars in Chicago total. I mean, this is news.
You can't walk down the street anymore, Stacking. You'll get shot.
Prohibition changed things. There's not as much bars there now.
This is Michigan Avenue. This is Detroit.
This ain't
And
Detroit.
then in terms of tortured fan bases in baseball, and by that I just mean teams that haven't won the World Series in forever. To me, it would be funny that the Red Sox in 04 make it, win in a sweep. The White Sox make it in 05, win in the sweep, and the Cubs get there and they're like, "Yeah, we saw how they did it. Now it's we're down 3 games to 1 now." But I guess that's I guess this is Cleveland's way of doing it. But ends tonight, like Traxler says, then it would be Cleveland wins in 5. So
The other part of this is that if the Cubs do come back and win this, Cub fans and bandwagon Cub fans are just going to be insufferable. So
They're
I mean-
insufferable right now.
well, the other part of it that I really like is that if Cleveland loses, then you can just say the only reason you have a title is because LeBron James is awesome. Your city's still shit, always been, and nothing's changed. So that's you really can't go wrong if you're a general sports fan like the four of us tend to be.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if the Cubs, assuming they don't come back and win this World Series, or even if they do, they made the trade for Aroldis Chapman, but yet their bullpen still struggles, and that's the clear weakness, I would say, with this team. Do you think Chapman will be back next year?
I think Chapman goes to the Dodgers, and I think Kenley Jansen goes to the Yankees. So I think he will not be back, and Cubs will sign somebody else. So they need to, because they got like Hector Rendon, who's been their closer. They got Pedro Strop, who's been their closer. They got a lot of guys that have been closers by name, and they're all right. But as you've seen with Kansas City the last couple of years, they've got 3 bullpen guys. Why I like the Yankees a lot this year because of their 3 bullpen guys, and now 2 of them are playing in this series. And Dodgers with Jansen did some good things. And Cleveland, reason why they win the World Series this year is because of their bullpen. They played 12 games. In half of them, they scored 3 runs or less. They're 4-2 in those games. That's probably better than you would expect when you score 3 times or less. So the bullpen. And Corey Kluber right now is your MVP of the series because there's not been a whole lot for offense. But Corey Kluber, 2 starts, 12 innings, 15 strikeouts, 1 run, 9 hits. That would be the MVP right there.
If you're a silver linings guy, it has to be somewhat reassuring that Cleveland, very strong bullpen, Derek Falvey coming from Cleveland to the Twins. Hopefully that's something that's on his mind in the way this team is going to be built.
Fix it. Sign guys. Last year. Sign guys. It's not difficult. Trevor Mason.
Go ahead.
Charlie.
We have talked about insufferable Cardinals fans, and how they're the best fans in baseball, bar none. They are getting extreme pleasure out of seeing Jason Hayward struggle as bad as he has in this postseason and not doing anything in the World Series.
Yeah, that's bad. It's a lot of money for defense when you just need a little bit of offense, and he is not giving you anything on the offensive side. So that's bad. Charlie.
You mentioned that the Indians have had fantastic bullpen pitching, good pitching overall, have won many low-scoring games. Are we 100% positive that the Kansas City Royals of the past 2 years aren't wearing Cleveland uniforms in the playoffs right now?
Could be. Why are people going to hate on Cleveland now? Like people maybe hate on people in this chat, maybe Larry and an Eamon say, "Goddamn Kansas City, we hate Kansas City." Are people going to say Cleveland? God damn it, I hate Cleveland now.
It's a very uncomfortable feeling.
What was that?
It's a very uncomfortable feeling, thinking that this Cleveland Indians team may just be imposters.
It's not good. What's happening in the football game, Stacking?
Right, well, real just on the baseball. Hypothetically, if the Cubs come back and win the World Series, do Cubs fans then have a existential crisis of their whole lives? Like they were never won. Most of the years they were really bad, and we're the lovable losers. And now, if all of a sudden they win, is it like, oh wait, do we have to expect them to win every year? Can we have them go back to not being any good anymore? Or I don't think it's going to matter at all. But
I would say whatever happens, they should be good next year. But I would say if they're bad next year, be like, oh well. We won the World Series. We're good for 10 years now. We're fine.
A good football game is finally happening, folks.
And the weird thing about the White Sox is that the big thing was the Cubs and the Red Sox. And the White Sox, they won the World Series in 1917, and the Red Sox won it the year later. And everybody was talking about Boston, and nobody gave a shit about the White Sox when they had a streak that was 1 year longer. And then Boston wins theirs in 2004, and then Chicago wins theirs in 2005. And Boston's was significantly more dramatic, and people cared. That was just weird that they'd gotten there a couple times, and the White Sox really hadn't.
Did the White Sox trade away Babe Ruth? Did the White Sox piss away a ground ball to first base that would have won the World Series?
They traded, who was it? Wilson Alvarez in 90.
That was a big trade.
in 97 or 96. Oh, we're
No, but they did go like 11-1 in the postseason that year.
they did. It was a very
However
impressive
many
thing.
and one.
And Terry Francona here, if he wins the third, Hall of Fame, right there. Done and done. There you go.
I'm getting a trivia question ready
All
here.
right. Nathan Sacken, not fucking.
I have a trivia question as well. From
I have one as two. Nathan
Dang, we
Sacken.
got 4 trivia questions tonight.
Jesus Christ.
Son of a bitch.
Stacken, what's the football game doing here?
We got the third. I don't know. I'm probably lagging behind here. I'm watching the red zone here. Aaron Rodgers throwing it. Oh,
I'm mad at you.
My number 29. That's Goodwin. It's not bad. It's good if you win. And the Falcons are one down away from winning against the Green Bay Packers.
What's this?
33-32.
And even if they don't convert, there's only like 12 seconds left. So they have to go a long ways.
Well, Aaron Rodgers can get a pass interference penalty somewhere, and that would just fuck everyone up. So,
Or magically find 12 guys on the field and get a dumb penalty because of that.
yep, that's true.
Did we ever figure out who that 12th guy was? A fullback, or who was the 12th guy?
That was me. Sorry.
Well, that was you.
Get off, Stacken.
Never to be welcome back in New Orleans again. So
Damn it, Stacken.
Packers lose 33-32. Good to see there. We had a tie.
There we go. Yeah, okay, see, you are way ahead.
Yes, I'm a
Two
little ahead.
ties. We got 2 ties since this show happened.
It's
last.
very nice. We like ties. Charlie.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I think it was somebody else.
The ties, 27-27, Cincinnati and Washington.
So, here we go. Why don't you just
All right.
hold on to your horses there if we're going to talk about this.
Get your trivia question full of ties ready here.
Get him.
Yep, that's what the trivia question is.
Also, off air, pre-show, I said to Stacken, there are rumors and there are odds that he does not know the special guest at SCSU men's basketball practice a couple weeks ago, and based on sources, namely Stacken himself, he does not know who it was. So we'll have
Son of a
to.
bitch.
So we'll have to play. We'll play a game at the end of the deal here. Play a game at the end of the deal.
It's a one-question trivia question for Stacken.
I did tell him it was a white person, so that narrows it down. Blog splat. What do we got?
What?
You got a trivia question, or what do we?
I do. Yep, so let's get right to it. Because you said ties, 2 ties in the NFL since we last chatted. Since 1997, there have been 8 ties by my counting here. I want you to name those teams that were involved in the ties, and if you can get a bonus, just for shits and giggles, if you want to tell me the final score, that
You have to
would be
name
great.
the game basically, or the team, one of the teams.
I want the 2 teams involved in the ties.
There have been 8 of them.
We have 3, 4, 5,
Christ.
I go first.
7, 8, 9. There have been 9 ties since 1997.
Good.
Charlie, he can go first. Marcus, then Tress.
I will take the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks.
Wrong, because it should not have happened. That was a penalty, and they gave Chandler Catanzaro the field goal.
And
Arizona won.
the final score was 6-6.
You are correct. That happened last Sunday.
That was the only one that I knew the score for, so that's why I went with that one.
Like much of America, Charlie did not watch the dreadful. Well, it was actually a decent game today.
The
But
best London game ever.
I didn't even know there was a London game, so like I woke up and turned it to Red Zone at like 12:05, and it was like, wait, what? How's this the 4th quarter? Or how's this overtime?
so I will take Washington and Cincinnati. The score 27-27 tie earlier today.
Had the Raiders, and you are correct, had the Raiders and the Buccaneers tied today, would have been the first time since 1974 that 2 games tied on the same day.
And you know what? All we're ever told is that things come in threes, and then what bullshit was that? That the Raiders decided that they had to win, and real letdown.
Also, the Raiders set a record today. They had 24 penalties for 200 yards, and it's the most penalties ever by a single team. And it seems most fitting that the Oakland Raiders would have a penalty record.
I think Jack Del Rio was going to.
the corpse of Al Davis got out of his grave, walked into the locker room, congratulated everybody on the win and the penalty record, and then walked his old wet ass out of the locker room and back into the grave.
He had to unhinge his jaw open because it had gotten cut over the years, and he said, "Just get flagged, baby."
There is a common theme
Very
amongst this
descriptive.
NFL tie thing. Travis, you
Both
are next.
is it that both teams ended up with the same number of points?
No,
Oh,
but
it's not.
that is a common occurrence. Yes.
Gus Frerott's Washington squad and the Giants tied in 97. The score, I don't know, was 24-24.
You are correct. 1997 happened. Giants and Washington. 7-7 was the final score.
Jesus
They won.
Christ. 7-7. Kill yourself, Washington. Good Lord.
Okay. I'm out of obvious ones. I kind of remember some ties, but in most of them, I only remember one team. I think there was a year within the last 4 or 5 years where your guys' Vikings and the
Oh,
Packers
my
tied.
God.
Bastard.
Yes, they did. Do you have a score at all?
Oh, let's say it was 24-24.
You were close. November 24th, 2013. Vikings Packers 26-26. That was the Vikings' only road game that year that did not result in a loss.
Good job, Vikings. Way to go.
Do good work.
Marcus.
Before
2 years ago, the aforementioned Cincinnati Bengals tied with Carolina. And I remember there being a significant amount of points in that game. 37-37.
Correct on all accounts. October 12th, 2014.
the Eagles were involved in a game because McNabb's a dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to figure out who they played. The Eagles. Tied with a team. I don't know. Washington?
No, they tied with the Bengals.
Oh, goddamn Bengals. Bengals do all the time.
13.
Guess the Bengals.
13-13, you said?
Yep, that's your commonality here.
The Bengals.
So
The Bengals have involved in 8 ties in the last 20 years.
they just know how to do it. So we have,
2-0.
looks like, three more ties
All right. That's right.
that have happened since 1997. Charlie.
All right, I'm going to be honest here. While Traxler was doing his, I was looking at the TV, so it's possible I could re-say the same one he said because I wasn't paying attention. But it probably isn't. I know there was one where I think it was Michael Vick was involved in a tie, and they threw like a Hail Mary on the last play and got tackled at like the 2. I think it was when he still played for the Falcons. I'll say it was like, I don't know, the Falcons and the Steelers.
You are correct. What was the score?
21-21.
34-34, but you are still alive since you picked the Falcons and the Steelers. That happened November 10th, 2002.
Boy, I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Michael Vick's old, man.
Yeah. I'm old too now, I guess. That was a long time ago.
Marcus.
I distinctly remember the St. Louis Rams and the San Francisco 49ers tying a few years back. And I'm going to guess that the score was 24-24.
You are correct. Again, on all accounts, November 11th, 2012. There is one game remaining. I will be very surprised if either of you get this. But, Charlie, do you want to take a stab at it?
If you're saying you'll be surprised if we get it, I'm assuming it wasn't recently. So I will say in 1997, because you keep saying since 1997, and that it was the, I don't know.
Wade Davis. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
The Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints.
Nope. That is incorrect.
Was any of that even remotely close?
One part was correct. I will not reveal which one.
Marcus. as he as well voided his bowels.
What was the one that Traxler said that I wasn't paying attention to?
That one was the let's get this.
Bengals, some.
I'm in the
The
middle.
Bengals and the Panthers.
I'm in the middle of making supper, and I decided to do that before I joined the show.
What's on the menu, folks?
The movie leaving in and out. I got some.
Huh?
I got something in the oven. God damn it!
We got a casserole.
Yes. Tater tot hot dish. So 1997, right? That was the year that this started.
Yes.
Nobody got it. Charlie tried to get that year, right? You didn't get it.
Nope. Yep. So it's all down to you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna guess. Let me think about this. I think I looked this up last week, but now I can't remember any of this stuff. I'm gonna say I think one of the teams was the Eagles, and they played the Patriots to a 20-20 tie.
Well, you did get the Eagles right. They did play the Baltimore Ravens, however. 10-10 was the final score. That was on my birthday back in 1997.
Yeah.
November 16th. But a happy birthday for me. I had to watch
Who
that.
were the two teams again?
Philadelphia and Baltimore.
The Eagles and the Ravens in 1997.
Jeez.
So it was like, I don't even know. I can't even guess who the Eagles quarterback was then. It might have been Vinny Testaverde for the Ravens. I don't know.
I was thinking like Elvis Gerbach for the Ravens.
May have been.
Oh.
Let's see here. Matt Stover missed a field goal. Chris Boniel missed one, whoever the fuck he is. So
Oh, how dare you be smart.
anyway, so yep, that's it. That's the trivia.
Charlie, you got something on the.
I do a trivia one. It's a college football one. We can do it whenever. I don't have strong feelings. Do you want to do it now?
I as well have a college football one. Sure.
So do I.
The
Okay,
quarterbacks in that
We'll see.
game. If we're curious, Vinny Testaverde was the quarterback, and
Nice.
where the
For
hell
both teams.
for both teams.
It's all-time QB.
Goddamn thing, go here.
Man, I miss those middle school days at recess where someone's the all-time quarterback for both sides.
Which, you know what? Now that I'm grown, you're like, why would anybody agree to that? Like, it's not like any of the 10-year-old. It's not like any of the quarterbacks are that good to be all-time quarterback. The only time you usually had that was with an adult, because an adult can maybe make a decent throw, a little bit more precise. But
But Johnny can throw a spiral, and sometimes it goes more than 17 yards.
who are you, Johnny?
Bobby Hoyne, quarterback Eagles.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got that.
Charlie, what do we got?
All right, so this is related to something that one of you guys' names, Travis Krenz,
That's me.
because I apparently am loopy today and get everything mixed up, mentioned something about this. The USA Today did the coaches and getting paid.
Oh.
I did not do who's got the highest salary. Instead, in there, they have the list of the largest buyouts in college football. So it is the 13 coaches with the highest buyout. Now, to be fair warning ahead of time that, I think everybody knows this, but just in case the thousands of listeners and viewers didn't know, that private schools don't have to release this data. So these are all public schools. So Notre Dame, USC, Wake Forest, Northwestern are probably...
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, now Notre Dame or USC might be really high. The other guys probably wouldn't be in there anyway. But so they've got to be public schools, and these gentlemen, all 13 of them, their buyout is $15 million or higher.
This is current.
It was originally, these Les Miles isn't on the list. So
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because Charlie Weiss could probably rear his ugly head on this list.
I originally did 20 million. There's 7 at over 20, and I thought I want a few more than 7, so I bumped it to 15, and now there are 13 total. And I guess I don't really care what order we go in. I guess on my screen, we'll go Traxler, then Stack, and then Krebs.
Okay. I am going to guess because, goddamn it, if there's going to be a list about coaches.
That's right, boys.
And I'm not going to guess them out.
All right, let me say this also, just in case. These guys are all still currently at their schools, too. This isn't guys getting paid that are not hired right now. These guys are still coaching those schools.
All right. With that said, Kirk Ferentz. If Kirk Ferentz isn't on that list, goddamn it.
Kirk Ferentz is on the list. He is fourth. His current buyout after that contract extension from earlier this year, $25,304,000 and change.
Get Ben, Iowa.
Stacking.
We will go with Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher is correct, and in what surprised me in doing this, he is number one. His buyout. And remember, this is the guy that Florida State fans were freaking out when they lost to Louisville. Time to get rid of Jimbo Fisher. Well, if you want to do that, it's going to cost you $33,125,000. So I think Jimbo's going to be at Florida State for a while still, unless he chooses to leave on his own volition.
How about Bob Stoops?
Bob Stoops also on the list. He is fifth. His salary, $24,790,000, or not salary, his buyout, $24,790,000. Back to Traxler.
Jim Harbaugh.
Harbaugh!
Jim Harbaugh is third on the list.
Put your glasses on. Put your Jim Harbaugh glasses on so you can see them.
$25,555,556. I don't know why the last one's not a 5 to keep that going. It's a 6 though.
Probably had to bump it up after that Ruth Ann steakhouse incident. Drinking milk with your steak, you fuck.
Jesus.
Stacking, you're up.
I'll stay in the conference and say Urban Meyer.
Surprisingly, Urban Meyer is on the list. Just kidding. It's not a surprise at all. He's number two, sandwiched between Jimbo and Jim Harbaugh. $27,434,000 and change.
Is Nick Saban on the list?
Nick Saban is on the list. He is only sixth, though, and that surprised me that there were 5 guys with higher buyouts. But Nick Saban's is still $23,266,000. And I believe that means you guys have gotten the top 6 correct in order. So it is only 7 through 13 left now. Where there is only one more guy that's at 20 million or more.
I did see this list earlier in the week, so I believe that gives me a small advantage. And one of the names that stuck out to me was Lovie Smith, and that is stupid.
That is correct. And it makes sense that you saw the list ahead of time, because otherwise, I don't know how you'd ever guess that. But yeah, he is 8th on the list, $19,336,000 and change. Stacking.
I don't feel good about this one, but we'll guess it anyway and say Charlie Strong.
Oh.
Charlie Strong, not on the list. That's an incorrect guess.
Son of a bitch.
7 billion points.
What's the lowest?
The lowest number is 15 million even.
What about my guy, Dabo Swinney?
Dabo Swinney is correct. He is 7th. His is 20 million even. So you guys have gotten the top 8 now, and only 9 through 13 are left. So five guys left. Back to Traxler.
5 folks.
I'm gonna go with Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen is a reasonable guess, but he is not on the list.
Lovie Smith was the only name I remembered outside of the big guys.
Nurse.
Krenz for the win.
The sad thing is I posted this article, but I didn't look at it, so I'd be bad.
Good, neither did I.
Yeah. I was worried when you said yours was also college football, since you posted that we would have the exact same one.
This was what I talked about last week. That was slightly modified. I had to look it up here about an hour before, and it was fun to look it up. Oh, hell, a college football coach. Not Charlie Strong. Let's go James Franklin for fun.
James Franklin is a reasonable guess. He is not on the list. I did not mention this, but also I know that the state of Pennsylvania
Boo to Pennsylvania.
has some strange rules, so sometimes theirs are not listed. I didn't check specifically to see if Penn State or Pittsburgh had theirs listed or not. So it is incorrect. And since
Marcus is checking the
Max
oven.
Traxler's now, I guess he's checking, so I'll fill time quick.
I'm back.
He's back now.
I can hear what's going on, so I will look
Okay.
out.
All right.
Is this considered overtime?
This is overtime, so we
This
could
is
end
overtime.
There's 3 minutes left.
Okay. How many missed field goals will there be in this
6.
overtime? Cause a tie. I'm going to guess Mark D'Antonio.
Mark D'Antonio is also a good and reasonable guess, but he is not on this list. His buyout probably is high. It is just not above $15 million.
How about Jim Mora?
Down it.
Jim Mora is correct.
Really?
12th, $15,105,000.
Damn it, Chris.
That's what I should have guessed.
Me. Oh,
Yeah, you.
McElwain.
Wait, why can't I get back in on this?
Because you missed, and it was that turn.
Oh,
Travis
okay.
got the one, and then it was the subsequent turn.
I thought you were just going to end it. Okay.
But Jim Mora is the one on this list I think that is most likely to be fired this year. I don't know if he will get fired or not, but I think the rest of these guys are either in their first year or sitting quite well. And then do you want to guess more, or do you want me to tell you the rest? I'm fine
What,
either.
3 more?
There are 1, 2, there are 3 more. Wait. 4 more.
Mark Helfrich? That can't be right.
Not Mark Helfrich. There is one in the Pac-12.
Jim McElwain.
Our guy, Mike Leach. Give it to
McElwain's
Mike Leach.
not on there. Mike Leach isn't on there.
God.
I'll give you the conferences.
Clay
There's
Helton?
one in the Pac-12, 2 in the SEC, and 1 in the ACC.
Clay Helton?
He's USC.
Not Clay Helton.
Yeah, he is USC. I don't count. Asshole Graham. Tom Graham.
It's not Todd Graham, although that's a good guess too.
Sonny Dykes.
It's not Sonny Dykes. Further north.
Oh, black guy.
Nope, this is a white guy. That's the
Oh,
head coach.
Jesus Christ. Oh,
I think the problem is that we're guessing guys who move around too much.
stupid shit Anderson from Wisconsin. Via
It's not
Oregon.
Gary Anderson.
Jesus Christ.
Although, one of the names
Oh,
is
Boise State guy.
Chris
Yeah.
Peterson.
Yeah, Boise State
Correct.
guy.
He is ninth, 16,400,000. So there's 2 SEC and an ACC school, and I kind of feel like Stackett should get the ACC one.
Oh, David Cutcliffe at Duke.
Oh, Jesus
It's not
Christ.
David Cutcliffe, that's a private school.
That's what Fuente.
I mean, it could be that high.
I know
Fuente's
it's
13th, his is 15 million.
Come on, Sacken.
I know it was Fuente.
Please, I want Will Muschamp on this list.
It's not Will Muschamp.
God damn it.
But
Kirby Smart then.
there's 2 SEC coaches. It's not Kirby Smart either.
Jesus Christ.
It's not Mark Stoops. Wrong division.
Motherfucker. Our guy or Auburn coat wearer.
Gus Malzahn?
It's not Gus Malzahn.
Jesus.
You're hitting the dartboard all around
Wisconsin.
there. You need the
Burt.
double 10.
Burt.
Hugh Freeze.
Burt Bielema is one of them. He's 11th at 15,400,000. And there's one other one.
Kevin Sumlin.
It's Kevin Sumlin.
Wow.
Yeah, we should have gotten that.
His is 15,416,000.
I want to run
And
him out.
those were the 13 coaches that if they got fired today, give or take a few dollars here or
Boom.
there, that's how much their buyout would be.
Isn't it funny though that like the coaches that are always talking about getting fired, Charlie Strong, Les Miles, they're all like, yeah, whatever their buyout is,
Sure.
yeah, we can swallow it. It probably is $10 million or something obscene, but
Yeah.
It's insane that they're just like, yeah, we don't care what the buyout is. We want to get rid of them.
Part of me hopes, especially since Florida State lost last night, is they lose 2 or 3 more games, and people start in Tallahassee. The fans start wanting to get rid of him just because his is the highest.
Right.
And I would like to see what's the highest buyout, over the last 20 or 30 years. I mean, it wouldn't be 30 years ago. I guess it'd be in the last 10 or 15 years. That someone did, and it's just like, okay, we're getting rid of this guy, but all of these plans we had, we can't do those for the next 7 or 8 years now.
I want Jimbo Fisher to leave so he can go to LSU.
There you go.
I seem to remember a story from a few years ago when McElwain was at Colorado State, and his buyout was like, I don't know, it was pretty high, $6 or $7 million. And Colorado State said that it was the most expensive buyout ever. Yeah, and that probably wasn't true because some of the schools protect their guys pretty good.
It may have been the most expensive buyout in terms of not firing a guy, but a coach grabbing a coach from somewhere else to hire him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was something I think they settled on something where it was like, we'll pay you half or 3/4 of this, but we also have to play you in a non-conference game too, or they came up with some settlement like that.
Charlie, what did you think of the officiating for Florida State Clemson?
I should say that I was at work. The TV did not work, so I couldn't watch it. I got home and saw the last 4 or 5 minutes or so. I heard there were some iffy things. I know that Jimbo Fisher was upset about some calls.
Fuck him.
I think the officiating probably wasn't that great, but I think it balanced itself out over the game anyways. And if you want to win Florida State, you probably need a better offensive line against a really good defensive front.
Nathan Stacken, should maybe Jimbo Fisher not be on the field? And maybe he shouldn't cost his team many yards.
I think the team, as the head coach, your team leads by your example. And if you want to be undisciplined like that, your team will be undisciplined in the final moments that matter. Therefore, Jimbo, stay off the fucking field.
Simple enough. Don't go on the field. Marcus Traxler, we had 9 undefeated teams yesterday. 4 of them lost. That means we got 5 undefeated teams. One of them is Western Michigan.
Rosie.
Huh?
Boise got beat.
They got beat.
On a safety. How often do you get a game-winning safety?
Very rarely.
So the first playoff ranking will be out on Tuesday, and it should be some combination of the 4 undefeated teams left with the Power 5, and Alabama will be 1, and Washington will probably be 4, I would assume. And then you pick between your Michigan and your Clemson.
Yep.
So that's the way that goes. Looking at the deal, Charlie, how many teams do you give a shot at yet of staying alive here?
Of staying alive for the playoff?
How many teams here have reasonable cases? We got a chance to win out, and if we do that, we'll be there.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm going to go with reasonable because there's some that if they win out, they'll have a chance to get in, but might not if, say, 3 teams are undefeated. I don't think we've ever had 4 power conference teams go undefeated, 4 or more, but there have been 3 a couple of times. So, I mean, clearly the top 4 are in. I know Nebraska and Ohio State both still control their own destiny. I think if Wisconsin wins out and wins the Big Ten title, that there's a pretty good chance they'd get in even with 2 losses.
Yep.
Probably the same with LSU and Auburn, too. Washington's, I think, the only one in the Pac-12 because Washington State lost to a 1AA school. A lot of people are saying the Big 12's done. I don't think they're done. They're probably not going to get one. I think it's unlikely that they're going to need more breaks. But I think that Baylor and West Virginia could still get in if they won out. So however many teams, and then I guess Louisville and Clemson, I think both could also. So that's about 10 or so teams. I would say there's or I guess Florida only has one loss, so Florida could still get in as well. And I think that would, so 10 or 11, but 2 or 3 of those are going to lose this next weekend and make that irrelevant. I would love for Nebraska to win the rest of their games. I'm fairly confident they're not going to win in Columbus against Ohio State next week.
I'm going with the top 8 have a chance. Louisville, Ohio State, A&M, Wisconsin. Nebraska would be the first team out of that. Nebraska, Florida, Auburn, and then the 3 Big 12 schools are 12, 13, 14. I think Nebraska, everybody down. Like you said, if they win out, they got a chance, but I don't think any of those teams will win out. So I got 8 teams right now that I could see in the playoff. Nathan Stacken, Tennessee lost again, this time to Muschamp. Do you think Florida at LSU and at Arkansas this week, Florida, do you like Florida to win the East now over the Vols?
Well, they're in the driver's seat.
They're
so
driving it.
Who's driving?
Jack Del Rio's son. That's who he.
That's right.
Not Muschamp, that's for sure.
I think this is Florida's to lose, and if you take a look at their schedule, like you said, that what could loom is
If they win this week, they got a good chance, a real good chance.
And there was a point in time that Arkansas looked pretty tough. Arkansas, I mean, they could lose that game, but Arkansas doesn't look nearly as good as they did a month or so ago.
No, and I mean they're gonna beat Muschamp here. They're gonna beat Presbyterian's canceled. Never mind. They're gonna. I mean, yeah, they're gonna win this division. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Yay, we get to go to Atlanta. Yay, we get to get slaughtered by Bama or possibly LSU or Auburn. But 95% likely that's Bama.
Marcus.
Yeah,
I think LSU beats Alabama this week.
I like that.
Do you think LSU at home beats Alabama? Because Alabama's won 21 in a row? That's a lot. I do not see Alabama winning the rest of them here. That'd be a 27 game winning streak. That's a lot. I see Alabama slipping up here at Coach O.
Well, they were home against Texas A&M, right?
Yep. It was close in the fourth quarter.
I picked Texas A&M to win that game because I'm like you. I feel like they're going to lose one here at some point.
And if it's not this one, Auburn at the end of the year, we'll see. That's at home, I believe. So
I'm with you. I'm with you on this one. Let's see LSU do it.
anybody else? Takers, LSU, knocking them off.
I don't know if I'm going to take them. I'm still debating it in my head right now, but I just want to. They've won. Did you say 20 or 21 in a row?
I believe it's 21. 20 or 20.
I think not including mid-major teams, but of like the power conference teams. I think the last 2 that have been on winning streaks that long were the Miami dynasty of the early 2000s and the USC one of the mid 2000s, where they were both plenty good. But I think we could probably agree that the Big East, especially in the early 2000s, and then the Pac-10 in the mid 2000s, probably not as strong as the SEC as a whole. Although the East looks like garbage, but there's plenty of teams in the West that are pretty good. So, but I think those are the only 2 that went longer. They got into like the 30s or so, but I mean they're playing tough games. It seems like I always pick against Alabama, and they always prove me wrong. So I'm going to probably pick Alabama to win this game. But
what is this? What is this?
I hope LSU wins.
Okay, this will be what 7 p.m. Your 7 p.m. CBS night game.
Did you say PBS?
And I think
yes.
Jim
Lair, your pregame host.
I think I mentioned this to Stacken on his show that since LSU beat Alabama in that 9-6 game that most people hated, except Nathan Stacken, that Alabama's won all of the games since then. When it's been in Tuscaloosa, Alabama's won handily, but when it's been in Baton Rouge, it's generally gone down to the wire. And I know at least one of them. I think one of them went to overtime. And the other one, Alabama scored with like 30 seconds left to win. So, I think Alabama's going to win, but it's probably going to go down to the wire. I mean, you can never just say, oh, well, yeah, they'll just waltz into Death Valley at night and walk out with a win like it's no big deal.
Sounds like Nathan Stacken wants to take LSU as well.
I do. Give me the Tigers. Give me the Bayou Bengals. We will must chip. Gotta sell you a Hummer. Marcus Track. Gotta sell you a Humvee.
Give us some of it. Give us some of it. Marcus. What's the Coach O pregame speech? You're playing the number 1 team in the country. You win this, you might win the conference.
Man, there's a great chance we have right here. Win this game, beat Alabama. Go to the playoff, maybe. Go to the playoff. Go to the New Year's Six game. Go Cotton Bowl.
If we win this game here, I will make sure that you guys get cookies for the rest of the season.
Cookies? Good.
I'll fly in and out from California every week. You guys have it after the game if you win this game. And you know what? JoJo will probably hook you up with a Hummer, too.
JoJo and the Hummers. Taking a look at the LSU schedule.
So many. I don't know if they can make the playoff or not, but that wouldn't stop. Edo from telling them they could make it.
That's right.
They can make the playoffs because they would have to beat then Texas A&M after this game
And
to
Arkansas.
end the season.
And Florida. That's tough.
And Florida. That's it. That's 2 top 10 wins right there. You just don't need to slip up against Arkansas. That's the big one there that you can't slip up on. Go up, get that boot. Come on back now to Baton Rouge now.
You hear? You hear?
LSU's got 4 games left, right?
Yes.
Yes, and
And I would say it's probably the most difficult 4-game stretch. Maybe not of the whole season, but of these last 4 weeks of the season. Probably the toughest stretch where all 4 of them are going to go to bowl games. And it's possible that 2 or 3 of them could be in, like, BCS bowls. Or whatever they're called now, New Year's Six bowls.
absolutely, though, LSU has a shot at the playoffs here.
Can I do my trivia question now?
Yes.
Okay. I wrote this up a few weeks ago. It was inspired by some other trivia question that I don't remember. But in the all-time history of the Associated Press Top 25 poll, which I think is celebrating some sort of milestone this year that I don't remember, maybe
It's
75
the 75th anniversary
I
of
think
Oregon
it's the
State.
80th year of the AP poll.
okay.
Bring
good.
back the UPI. Bring back the UPI.
Bring it back. In the 80 years, there have been 40 teams by my count that have been number 1 in the poll for at least 2 weeks all time.
At least 2 weeks. So not 1 week. You've got to beat it twice.
Right. So
So that eliminates one school, I was going to say then.
yes. So teams that have been at the AP poll for at least 2 weeks all time, and I believe this list taken a few weeks ago still good. So if we want to start with Charlie, then go to Stacken, and then Spurs.
Before I go into a quick meltdown where I cry for 5 minutes, I will say my Nebraska Cornhuskers, even though they lost yesterday.
Nebraska Cornhuskers, they're 7th on the list, 70 weeks at number 1.
Look at you.
My turn, right?
Yeah.
Alabama.
Alabama, as of a few weeks ago, had 81 weeks at number 1. They are the number 5 team on this list.
Florida State.
Excuse me?
Florida State.
Okay, very good, Florida.
Bobby Bowden.
72 weeks at number 1. Not all of those under Bobby Bowden. Most of them, that is 6th on the list.
All of them under Bobby Bowden.
Jimbo Fisher, get back.
Never heard of him.
I will go with the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Ohio
Buckeye.
State Buckeyes, 105 weeks. That is number 1.
Let's try Schottenkirk's favorite team, the Trojans of Southern California.
Fight on. 91 weeks at number 1, 4th on the list.
Florida.
Florida Gators, 41 weeks, 10th on the list.
That old ball coach, yeah. Dr. Pepper. It was Larry Culpepper.
Close.
Why are we doing Larry Culpepper impressions?
Kill Larry Culpepper.
Because he and the old ball coach are doing commercials for Dr. Pepper.
Good job, old ball coach Tyler Culpepper. That's what I say.
My turn.
I believe so.
I will take the Oklahoma Sooners.
Boomer Sooner, number 2, 101 weeks at number 1.
We'll go with Michigan.
Michigan, 11th on the list, 34 weeks at number 1.
Coach O, LSU.
Coach O, LSU, 12 weeks at number 1.
You said
I
12?
Excuse me, 30 weeks at number 1, 12th on the list. I
Okay.
misread.
That bias, that rigged media, bias media.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right. Okay.
I will take Catholic University, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Number 3, 98 weeks. We have the top 7 schools off the board.
I'll take the Convicts then and say Miami.
Miami, they're number 8, 68 weeks. So we don't have any teams now that have been on there more than 45 times. Still plenty of good teams out there.
The Oregon Ducks.
Oregon Ducks, 8 weeks at number 1. That's significantly down on this list, but that's all right.
It's all right, folks. It's all right.
Solid?
I got to think for a second because 3 of the ones I had all went in a row right there.
Well, son of a bitch.
Mitch!
Okay, let's say
Mr. Hairplugs is on TV right now, Joe Buck.
Get him on here, boys. Turn this fucking thing
Get him
on.
on.
I will take the Auburn Tigers.
Auburn Tigers, they're right ahead of Oregon, 9 times at number 1.
Perhaps this school never would have gotten this many weeks in a row at number 1 if someone would have just let people know about a certain crime going on. I'll take Rapist University, Penn State.
Whoa, look at this guy.
Penn State is on there, 15th all time, 21 weeks at number 1.
How
Tennessee.
many schools are there?
I
Who?
believe I counted 40.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Rocky Top, 18 weeks at number 1. 18th on the list as well. They're tied for 17th, I guess.
I am trying to make sure there aren't any obvious ones I'm forgetting before I go to the ones that might have only been on there for like 3 weeks. So, and this is just any weeks, period.
Any week since the beginning of the poll.
So not the final poll, all 12, 13, 14, 15 weeks.
Yep.
I will take Traxler's Minnesota Gophers.
Minnesota, 17th on the list, tied with Tennessee. So, arguably my 2 favorite teams, each 18 weeks at number 1.
So do
And at the rate
preseason?
they're losing, Tennessee's not going to get past Minnesota anytime soon either.
That's right. That's
So do
right.
preseason and final polls count?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Georgia's got to be on that list, right?
Georgia.
Georgia behind both Minnesota and Tennessee, 15 weeks, number 1 all time.
My favorite team, Clemson.
Clemson Tigers, 7 times they've been number 1. Good job, Clemson.
Good fucking job.
Back to Charlie.
I know part of the thing is I'm just trying to think who won national titles. Because if you won a national title, there's a good chance you were on it at least twice that season. But there's also the coaches in the AP poll. I'm trying to make sure I'm not like picking the team that I don't know. Anyways, enough stalling. Oh, well, now I feel dumb for not thinking of some easy ones. I will take the Army Knights.
Army, 14th all time, 27 weeks at number 1.
How far back did this go, Marcus?
I believe, to about the 40s.
I think 1936 was the first year of the AP poll.
Well, Army should have been number one every week throughout World War II. Let's go. Come on.
Maybe should have
Yeah,
been
you're right, because the Navy didn't do anything during World War II.
Air Force should have been third.
And well, Navy, I mean, just one of the three. Get the commander-in-chief. I'll say Texas.
Texas Longhorns, the last team in the top 10 on this list, still out there, 45 weeks. They should have been fourth during World War II for sending all their idiot Texas people over to fight for our freedom.
That's right.
Look, this
Mrs.
is what I mean to say, but I said it anyway. And there you go.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, 5 weeks at number 1.
It all happened 2 years ago.
I know. Oh wait, it's not my turn.
Whoa, here, this ain't fifth grade lunch line. We got a cutter in the fifth grade lunch line. Get the fuck back there.
Do I have to go back?
Then you have to wipe off all the dry erase boards.
That's right. Pound those. You
You're not
gotta
getting 2 cartons of milk either.
pound those fucking erasers on the sidewalk after class. Pound those and get white lung disease from the choke.
All right, Charlie.
I think they won a national title in the 50s. I will say the Michigan State Spartans.
Michigan State, 29 weeks at number 1. The top 15 or so teams all off the list.
How many left?
Let me count them quick.
Top 15's done.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Where's CCNY on that list?
15, 16, 17, 18. CCNY not on here. 18 teams left on here.
Holy balls.
I'm guessing that no one from Trump University has ever gotten
It's a
number
shot.
one.
It's
So
a shot.
They haven't.
Second, they don't even play football there.
It's a women's
maybe
college.
it's just basketball.
You guessed wrong. You're out.
He's fired.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss,
Balls.
5 weeks at number 1, just like Mississippi State. So they can fight over that too.
How about Washington?
Washington, 15 weeks, number 1. Now, yeah, just about the top 20 gone here. One team left in that top 20.
There's like 2 schools I keep thinking of, but I think that they only were number 1 after they won the national title. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take. I'm thinking of a year there was a split national title. I'm trying to see if I can remember which one won the AP Bowl.
1997, there was.
In 1997, but we've already said both Michigan and Nebraska.
I know.
Let's see. I am going to roll the dice on Marcus Traxler's Colorado Buffaloes.
Colorado Buffaloes, 7 times number 1. Stack attack.
Okay, only reason I'm going to say this team, and it's going to be wrong, is because I saw some old man on the tube against Washington State, so I will guess Oregon State.
Uh-oh. Oregon State, not on the list.
A shame.
Sorry.
That 99-year-old man.
Never ranked me in the top 25, number 1.
How about Virginia?
Virginia, 3 times number 1.
What?
Yep.
I got a secret after the trivia question's done. So.
I
cheated.
have to say that there's some relatively
Obscure.
solid schools still out there.
Okay.
I'm sure there are plenty of obvious ones I'm blanking on right now. I am stalling for time, so I'm talking really slowly right now. I will take Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, not on the list.
Really? I believe this team won a national championship back in the 1500s.
Yep.
I'll take Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, 7 times they've been.
Shit. I was literally debating between Georgia Tech and Texas A&M. Also UCLA, but I didn't remember if they were ever number one.
UCLA 7 times. The most notable one here, Pitt, 21 times.
I always forget about Pitt in any football thing ever.
I'm glad you guys forgot about
Iowa.
these guys.
Iowa.
Iowa times, yep.
I know BYU was number one. I think it was only 1 week though.
BYU 4 times.
Ooh.
It was 4. Okay.
Syracuse 7, Maryland 6, Northwestern 5, Purdue 5.
I would have never guessed Northwestern was ranked number 1.
4, Cal 4. The only non-FBS team on this list, Cornell 4 times. Mizzou 2, and SMU and TCU both 2 times.
Shit, I was going to say Missouri, and then I completely forgot about it at some point when I was trying to think of teams.
So that's the list there. 40 teams, by my count, that have been multiple-time AP number 1.
I will postpone my question because my question is very similar to your question.
Son of a bitch.
That's why I won it, because I have answers in front of me. So,
Of course.
there you go.
You asked.
That's right. Virginia was the one. I saw that was like 92. I'm like, Virginia. When the fuck was Virginia in 92?
You know, that's really sad when my Hokies are not on the same answer as fucking Virginia. Virginia's better than the Hokies at something? That's terrible.
You're to the wrong team, clearly.
They're way better at basketball.
What?
Hey, Buzz Williams getting the Hokies to the tournament this year. You mark my words.
NIT first round, I think, is reasonable. I think it's really
But
reasonable.
can he get a number 1 seed and bow out in the second round of the tournament? I mean, that's what's really impressive. Virginia does that.
It's tough to beat when they score 55 points a game.
The thing I like is the last few years, like as soon as the bracket comes out,
Virginia out.
They're going to be out. They're going to be out. There's no way in hell they're going to make it. And then they show like the national bracket, and like 3% of people picking to go to the Final Four. They're number 1 seed. Like people know. People know about Virginia.
Virginia and Pitt basketball were the ones that you can take pleasure in saying, yep, out in round number 2.
Gonzaga, join the list. What,
What's going on your ass?
Charlie, what was the game of the week? Your trip around America.
You mean like before the season? Or
Your
like before the
trip
week started?
Your trip around the world.
Oh, for that, yeah, it was Florida State and Clemson.
And that
which
may have brought,
there were probably more losses between them than I expected going into the game because I think Florida State had 2 or 3 losses, but it ended up being a pretty good game.
what is it this way? Is it, what do we got? Nebraska, Ohio State, LSU, Alabama?
It's LSU and Alabama. Before the season started, the 3 I picked as there's no way I'm not picking these games as long as they're not on the same week were Clemson, Florida State, Alabama, LSU, and Ohio State, Michigan.
Those were the top 3. Nathan Stacken,
Oh, yeah.
barring a loss,
What about the Apple Cup?
we're getting
No respect.
no respect. The Pumpkin Cup. Barring one of these 4 undefeated teams losing, I'm sure 1 or 2 of them will lose. Washington seems to have the worst resume of the bunch. Their big win will be at Utah or versus Stanford. That would be their big win, and that's not. I don't think that's going to sway
Or
many.
Washington State.
We'll see there. They're non-conference, not good, and
Do they have USC at all or no?
yes, I think so.
I like that Washington did the schedule of Power 5 school, but since that school was Rutgers, it's basically looked at as they were playing a 1AA school.
It was. Alabama might lose. They still might get the 1 seed. Is this year very important seed-wise, assuming Alabama is the 1 seed? Because you do not want to play them first round.
No, you do not. I agree with that. Certainly, Clemson has not looked great at times this year. I mean, they barely survived NC State. And like we've seen, Louisville, even despite that close loss to Clemson. They have not looked unstoppable. They had to come back to beat Virginia, and they struggled with Duke. So there seems to be, apart from Alabama, no real clear-cut teams that are head and shoulders above the rest of the group. So yeah, 2 and 3 are the big ones. I wouldn't want to be the 4 seed and have to get ready to face Alabama. I think Washington would get slaughtered by them.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it matters where you're seated a great deal. Like, I get that you don't want to play Alabama, but like, would you want to play Michigan when Jim Harbaugh has time to prepare with their passing defense either?
Huh?
Jabril Peppers, he'd play every position.
That's right. All the positions.
Nose tackle, offensive guard, knock you out.
How come he isn't in the Heisman discussion?
He is in the Heisman
I
discussion.
think he is.
He is.
Okay.
Check your mailbox on Monday. The Heisman pamphlet will be there.
We're older, have been for a long time.
Have been for a long time. Charlie, the one matchup I want to see, based on teams alive and a thing that could happen, I want to see Michigan and Alabama. Is that the game you want to see the most? I would assume yes.
Probably. I mean, like 3 weeks ago, I might have said Ohio State and Alabama before Ohio State started looking like, oh, I guess they're just really good instead of fantastic. But I think that Michigan, especially in terms of matchup, like not X's and O's, but Nick Saban versus Jim Harbaugh, and having Jim Harbaugh do all this weird subtweet stuff and, and this passive-aggressive stuff, I think would be quite interesting. I'm sure he would probably find ways to infuriate not just Alabama fans, but probably almost everybody in the Deep South.
Marcus.
Yep.
Seems to be 2 conferences that have a chance of getting 2 teams in. That'd be a Clemson-Louisville combo or a Ohio State-Michigan combo. Which one do you think is more likely? Huh?
Respect the MAC. Respect the MAC.
The MAC. What the fuck's the MAC gonna do?
Western Michigan.
After Ball State beats Western Michigan this weekend, it's going to up their resume up that they're both going to get at.
Ball State, Western Michigan. Which one of those 2 conferences has the best chance of getting 2 teams in?
I would maybe say the ACC, as weird as that sounds. I mean, I think it helps that you have a guy like, what's-his-face, Lamar Jackson from Louisville. Sort of a brand builder for Louisville. And those teams would not play each other in the ACC title game because the ACC is down. So, and I think there's going to be a little bit of splintering in the SEC to the point where we have maybe 2 or 3 teams that you would consider, and that maybe makes it difficult for them to get 2 teams in. And that first meeting was so close between Clemson and Louisville. So that's maybe my reasoning.
Charlie,
Clemson would have to probably go undefeated.
The interesting thing with Louisville, too, is that, like, their greatest strength is also a weakness that, like, they don't really play anyone that good the rest of the year. I mean, they play Houston, but Houston seems less and less impressive each week. So I don't know if they have anything that will, like, catapult them forward, but they're also by far the least likely to lose.
That's why I think they have to be even more impressive in their wins. You can't be trailing Virginia on the road with under a minute to go if you want a spot at the playoff. You have your one loss. You just can't take any chances, and voters will say, like, hey, this team is not playing very well.
That's why I respect Jim Harbaugh as much as I do, because everybody thinks that he beat the pants off of Rutgers just because he wanted Michigan to look good, but he also beat their pants off because he wants to embarrass Rutgers. And that's why I respect Jim Harbaugh, and he knows that Rutgers is a sham. It always will be. It's a diploma mill, and good job, Jim Harbaugh.
I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but just hypothetically, if Michigan was beating Ohio State by like 4 touchdowns in Columbus this year, I would love to see him just being like, no, we're going for it on 4th and 3. I don't care. We're not taking knees. We're running fake field goals. Anything we can to just shove their head in the toilet and flush it the whole time.
I think Louisville's gonna going to have a tough time getting in here because a one-loss Big Ten team is going to get in over Louisville because Louisville has a win over Florida State and Houston, and I don't think that's going to be enough for them to get in with one loss, while these other schools have bigger names. So Louisville's in a fine position, but they're going to have some help, I think. Them and a one-loss Washington, I'd be intrigued. Because I think beating Stanford and Utah might be similar to beating Florida State and Houston, maybe.
Stanford is not good this year, though.
They're going to win like 9 games.
Yeah.
Like, of those 4 teams I mentioned, Florida State might be the best, but Houston's probably the worst. So Louisville's got wins over the 1 and 4, while Washington's got wins over the 2nd and 3rd best teams.
I'd like to see Houston play Stanford because I think Houston would beat them by 20.
Whoa!
That's despite what I've seen
Jesus
here the
Christ.
last couple of weeks from Houston, losing to SMU and then struggling with Central Florida.
Is that a call?
I think the interesting thing to mention, too, is that if Michigan loses to Ohio State,
Ohio
they would
State
have a win over Wisconsin that looks good. Well, I guess
Colorado.
Penn State's a solid win, I guess.
Colorado.
They would have wins over Colorado. Yeah, so I guess it's better than what I thought it was going to be originally. But, yeah, that might be enough, depending on what else happens. And, I mentioned this on Stackett's show, that, when there were still 9 teams left that were undefeated or whatever. But more of these teams are going to lose. There's not going to be 4 undefeated teams in the playoffs.
Other games to note, apparently South Florida's 7-2. That's something. Michigan beat Michigan State. Washington, Utah. I was hard for it. Not a whole lot happened. Had the punt return to win it there at the end. Fine game. Utah will go to a good bowl game. Ohio State almost shit their pants versus Northwestern. Too bad that didn't happen. The Big 12 died yesterday, so that's good. And Nebraska, Wisconsin, maybe the best or second best game of the day. And Nebraska damn near pulled it off. Charlie, when you see the guy, I'm assuming you saw this year. When you see the guy,
Technically, I did not see it. I had to listen to it because we don't get ESPN at work. I listened to the entire game on my headset, so I heard it all explained. I've seen a handful of Twitter clips here and there. But
when you see that, when you hear that they missed the extra point, you're thinking, boom, we got it. That's all.
Do you want to hear my complete, honest, what I thought after they missed the extra point?
Yep.
I thought, holy shit, I hope they don't do what they did against Texas Tech in 2008 when Texas Tech missed a field or a PAT in overtime, and then Nebraska turned around and threw an interception on the first play. And they didn't throw an interception, but they went for it now.
Had 4 downs to get it, couple runs, couple passes, deep pass, right end zone. Good play by the Wisconsin defender to break it up. So Wisconsin and Nebraska still in the mix there.
On Wisconsin.
If Nebraska were to upset Ohio State, Nebraska probably wins the division. But if they don't do that, then Wisconsin wins that division likely. So we got.
It's worth noting.
Yes.
Oh, Echo's back.
God damn! Why? Why do we go an hour and a half and then the fucking echo out of nowhere? That's insanity. Insanity. All right, we'll give that a whirl. Okay.
Read earlier this morning that Wisconsin this next week plays at Northwestern. Northwestern, who all the jokes early in the seasons looked pretty good over the last month or so, and it's in Evanston. And Wisconsin has not won in Evanston since 1999 or 2000
Really?
or something like that. That was the same thing I
Wow.
thought. Now they haven't played every year because before they had divisions in the Big Ten, not everyone played, so they've only played there 6 times in the last 17 years or so, but have not won. I think Wisconsin's probably going to win, but it does not seem as likely as it did after they lost to Illinois.
No. Bad. Echo bad.
Nope, we're good.
It's good now.
It's good now. How about it? Games of interest: Florida at Arkansas for East purposes. Nebraska at Ohio State. Alabama at LSU. Washington at Cal. Is that of any concern to anybody?
Who does Kentucky play this next week? That's an important game.
Kentucky and whoever the fuck they play. Anything to worry about? Cal hosting Washington.
Cal can score points.
You got to
Can't stop anyone, but they can score.
They've got a good passing offense. I'm trying to think. I don't know if Washington has played any teams that are good at throwing the ball, and I don't know if Cal's great at throwing it, but they will at least do it in high value. I mean, I certainly think Washington will win, but
Western Michigan and Ball State play on Tuesday, guys.
That's
Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is my stack, and that is my I'm concerned Houston game of the week. Western Michigan at Ball State.
Don't be concerned. Western
Oh,
Michigan.
really? Oh, really, sir? Let's see here. Let me get
This
the old.
is from the guy who picked just did terrible in picks this week, 2-6, along with Marcus.
Where in the hell did the internet go here? The internet machine. I got a stat for you. I'm going to knock your pants off.
Please don't.
I'm not wearing pants, so
I'm going to knock your dick off.
Does it work for basketball shorts too, or do they have to be actual pants?
No, dicks. Knock your dick off.
No.
Nick Stonehill.
No. I haven't had fun like this in ages.
Stacking?
yeah,
Can I intrigue you with a stat?
you can.
Okay. Let me know if you get hard enough, you're going to explode to where I can stop.
Okay.
Okay. Week 4 of the season. You remember week
Yeah.
4?
Yep, I believe it was Houston and Cincinnati.
Sure.
You were concerned.
No.
You remember that?
No. Week 4 of the season, Arkansas, they lost to A&M.
Oh, okay.
Arkansas, what were they
No,
ranked?
I don't want. Okay, I know
We're
where
going
you're
to
going.
this.
It's not.
Remember that?
Where
I
was
saw this early.
Arkansas was ranked 17th, Stacking. Okay. Week 5, the following week, Michigan State lost to Indiana.
Michigan State was probably ranked 17th.
They were ranked 17th.
Hold on.
Who did it? John
Jose Ramirez did it. Cleveland's up.
MVP, Jose
They
Ramirez.
threw it back. It doesn't matter. It counts.
Week 6, you'll remember this game. Va-Tech beat Carolina 34-3 in the rain. Carolina was
Who's
ranked.
North Carolina ranked?
What were they ranked? Stacking.
Yeah.
Carolina was ranked 17th.
Yeah, I know. I understand where you're going with this.
Virginia Tech loses the next week.
Ah,
They're 17th. Week after that, Arkansas. Week 8 loses to Auburn. Arkansas loses. Ranked 17th. Utah loses.
Unlucky number 13.
Utah lost last week, yesterday, to Washington. Utah was the 17th ranked team in the country. 6 weeks in a row, number 17 has lost.
Streaks are made to be broken, Travis.
Do you know
Joe
who's ranked 17th now, Stacking?
Western.
Yeah, I'm
Michigan.
Western Michigan. I know that.
Oh
I'm
my
not
goodness.
He's not worried. He's not.
You know what, though? I wasn't concerned about Akron rolling into Buffalo and losing to the Bulls, and yet that somehow happened. So
We're not ranked 17.
I'm just looking at them. I'm looking at the MAC comparison, but Ball State, no thank you. The Fighting David Lettermans are not going to win this game.
The only consolation I can give you, Corinz, is when you're up shit creek about a battle.
Jesus.
What do? You find that magic extra battle, and you row the boats. You row the boats to get done with it.
You row the boat right to the goddamn Rose Bowl. What you do?
May I throw a proposal out to the group?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's hear it.
All right. No, I won't get married, Stacking.
Well, I think we are all in agreement that we want to see 8 teams in the college football playoff, correct?
I am not, but I'm okay with you making your point still.
I like 8
Okay.
teams. 8 teams are good.
I like.
I would like to see Louisville in the mix. Sure.
I would like to see. Now, of course, it all happened that a bunch of the undefeated teams lost. But I want to see all of the undefeated teams get into the playoff, regardless of who they
If
play.
you were undefeated.
Like that.
And then if If not, so like you could see more than 8 teams if there are more than 8 undefeated teams.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just take the top 8. But I want to see Western Michigan do it, even if they get blown out by Bama. You're undefeated through the regular season. I want to see all undefeated teams make it to the playoff.
Okay.
Stacking, you're basically doing my proposal from last year.
Some teams, maybe
Except-
4 teams make it. Some
except
teams, maybe 10
There's
teams.
no specific number. It's anywhere between 2 to up to 8, 9, 10. However many the committee says, this is how many we think are good enough or deserve to be in. And if you would be undefeated, you'd get in regardless. That was mine. But with mine also, I'm fine with going fewer than 4. There's only 2 undefeated teams. I'm fine with saying those are the only 2 that are going.
A San Diego State,
That's not ever going to happen.
Washington final.
I just think this would. I get that teams do play easier schedules, like Western Michigan getting to roll over the Eastern Michigans.
They get to play easy teams like Illinois. Get them out of here.
Northwestern.
Get them out of here.
But I do
Hey,
think
Western Michigan beat Northwestern way worse than Ohio State
right.
did.
yes,
By
I
way
did.
worse.
Common
I-
opponent.
Quit being so selfish. This is about the people of Kalamazoo, Michigan, getting to go to the Rose Bowl.
I would like to see this though.
As
I wonder though what it would do for for non-conference scheduling. Would you? I mean,
For
you
shitty
wouldn't
teams?
want to schedule any.
Goss Southern. Let's get Goss Southern in the mix.
You want to see Goss Southern's non-conference?
It's
schedule?
very
This-
good. It's very, very good.
It is outstanding here. Let's pull this up here. Where's old Goss Southern?
I'm all in favor of a 16-team playoff where there are 11 conferences now? 10
10
conferences?
conferences.
So 10
The Power
conferences.
5 and the Group of 5.
So 10 conferences. You win your conference, you're in. 6 wild cards. I could be persuaded to do 10 conference winners, 2 wild cards, 12 teams get in, top 4 get a bye.
Well, never mind. I was going to say I like Georgia Southern's non-conference, but it's just Georgia Tech and Ole Miss. So,
It's only Georgia Tech and the best 5-loss team ever. Ever. Good teams, though. Good teams.
good teams. Yes, I thought they played like a third good team in there. But anyway, I just think you should reward undefeated teams for their regular season, regardless of how they finish, and not just in the let's go to a New Year's Day bowl game. The Peach Bowl. That's
Go for some respect, goddammit.
Oh no, who cares about the conference getting like a $30 million paycheck?
okay.
Release that paycheck, goddammit.
But they don't have a shot to go and be in the playoff.
I know.
And they might. I mean, let's see how the rest of the season plays out. If everyone's got 2 losses, an undefeated Western Michigan might get in.
Who's their head coach? Is he going to be at Western Michigan next year?
You'll be at Purdue next year. Purdue.
I was talking about this with someone earlier, is that if Western Michigan wins out, they'll probably play in the Cotton Bowl, and it will be without P.J. Fleck as the head coach. He'll be the head coach at a better school.
Interim coach George O'Leary coaching Western Michigan.
It appears there was a baseball play in the baseball game where maybe the first baseman's foot was not on the base, and I think they called him out.
Yep.
And Anthony Rizzo's foot seemed to be off the base, and maybe they called him out. And so bad deal there for the Cubs, or for the Indians, it looks like.
Too bad.
We're in 2016. There's no time for replay.
Nope. Time has come to try and get Nathan Stacken to figure out who the hell,
This is going to be good.
what prominent figure in basketball, a person that he knows and maybe has even seen or heard on the TV in the past week or two, was in Brookings, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Well, I already gave you my one true guess that I thought was decent.
It wasn't the dude from CBS Sports.
No.
Bill Walton.
Bill Walton. No, it was not Bill Walton.
They do have
Who's
the
the dude?
microphone.
Go ahead.
Is he prominent in college basketball or the NBA?
The NBA.
Stacken said the dude from CBS Sports. Which dude was he talking about?
Gary Parrish.
No, not the dude I was
Roberts.
thinking.
Robert Parrish's
There's
dad.
some guy I don't remember his name.
Good for Centenary.
But he's got like 100,000 tweets, and like
Jesus
half of them
Christ.
are during college basketball season. And it's just like, college basketball's crazy, baby. And like he still does like reports and stories and things. It's not Dick Vitale. Yeah, that guy.
Who?
And he always tweets that this is March.
Who?
Yeah, okay, that's the one I was thinking.
Who is
Hey,
it?
we're trying Seth Davis here. I mean,
Who is it?
John Rothstein.
Who? You're.
What?
Say it again.
John Rothstein.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
all right.
Uh,
So, prominent in the NBA,
Yep.
is he a player or is he a player or coach or is he an announcer?
He used to be a coach. He is now an announcer.
Hubie Brown.
No.
I guess just so I can do with the funny voice from the ESPN commercial.
Sure.
Van Gundy!
Whose voice was that?
I don't know. There was some big commercial 2 or 3 years ago about like basketball on ESPN or an ESPN NBA app or whatever channel or station he worked
Wasn't
for.
it that they
And
were
it was
on
like a cowboy that like he always took his phone with him, and then he was just like they show like something of Van Gundy talking about something. Just go Van Gundy. Jesus, I'm laughing.
Jeff Van Gundy, is this true?
This is true, sir. This is true. What thoughts?
That's who it actually was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thoughts and
You got-
feelings.
kind of blew it wide open there, Charlie.
You did.
Why was he in Brookings?
Why wouldn't he be?
Scouting Dom.
Goddamn
The
right.
number one pick in the NBA draft.
Mike, goddamn right.
You have to go on SCC's YouTube page because they got an interview with Van Gundy, and it's clear he doesn't know any of the other players other than Dom, and him trying to like talk about the guys and not know any of the other names other than Dom is pretty funny.
What I liked is that they asked him a question about something. He's like, and then he answered, "Yeah, I really like the stuff." And then like the very next question is, "So what do you like about it?" Like that's what the fuck he just talked about. What he liked about it. Then the
Yeah.
next question is, "So what do you like about it?" Like, did you not listen to what the fuck he just said? Oh yeah, the facility and the football stadium and the players and the coaches and this and that. Christ.
Yeah, but what do you like about it?
What do you like about it, Stacken? Well, there we go. Is your dog, or where's your dog at?
I don't know.
Huh?
He is. Well, I mean, he's getting snipped tomorrow. so I
Oh
think it's
my
just a
lord.
Yeah.
Did you buy him a plastic doll or something he could use?
He likes blankets, so.
Where's he at?
By the way,
Where's he at right now?
He's in the living room with the wife.
You want to bring him in here?
No, I really
Oh
don't.
my.
Can we have an interview with his testicles before they get chopped off?
Can you save him? Save the balls.
Why was Jeff Van Gundy there?
I have no idea. I guess Otzelberger knows him from some fucking somehow. I have no idea why he's just there.
Huh.
Are you seeing this now, or have you
I'm
Googled?
looking at it right now, and he looks like he's got some stupid, dumb, smug look on his face in this photo with that blue Jackrabbit shirt on.
Very anti-Jeff Van Gundy, apparently.
I'm looking to see if I can find this Van Gundy commercial for you guys.
Next week, I suppose you would propose a, I don't know, a college basketball preview of sorts for the local squad, and maybe a
And
more.
I've got my 4 Final Four teams. I've had them for 4 months now, and I'm not switching.
Ain't
But
switching.
who else besides Wichita State?
Now, I'm not picking Wichita State. I'm not even going to pick Wichita State to make it to the tournament this year.
What? After losing those 2 4-year starters that were like the best players in school history, you think they're going to get worse?
Yeah, it's just stunning, right?
Well, shit.
There we go. Nathan Stacken, your expectations for a Monday Night Football game tomorrow?
Well, Jarek McKinnon's out. Cordell Patterson is questionable.
Do any of those guys play defense?
They do not.
Good. That'll fun.
But the offensive line should play better.
Over
This game should
under
this game
2.5 yards for Ronnie Hillman.
over.
Over. Wow.
This game should not be close. It will, but I think the Vikings bounce back and get a win on Monday night, Halloween night, in against the Monsters of the Midway.
Dick Butkus dead.
And, no,
How many dead animals in the locker room?
Yeah.
the Chicago Bears are aptly named monsters because their play has been hideous this year.
Hideous.
And there will be no there will be no stuffed animals that are cut up. Mike Zimmer has been quick to point out that was not him.
I'm not taking Zimmer's side on that one. Sorry.
That was Zimmer. No, that was him, and I like it. It was him. That was you.
And it was insane.
It was fine. It was very good. Let me see if I can find something here.
I don't know why he was such a wuss about it, though. He should have found actual dogs and killed them. That would have really drove the point home.
You know what? He knows someone. His name's Michael Vick. Just call him up for a visit.
Michael Vick. Michael.
Better yet, call up Marcus Vick. He ain't doing anything.
He's a real dumb shit.
All right, I found it. I'm sending you guys this so you'll
Where?
understand my one joke that
Last,
you certainly are under no obligation to watch.
where
But
did this?
it is a 30-second ad with a cowboy that laughs. That makes me think of this half the times I hear the name Van Gundy.
October. Where do we got this at? Are you playing it? I gotta hear it.
All right. What a show.
It was there. Alrighty. Let's see. When was the last time the Vikings played on Halloween?
I will guess it was that game that the Cowboys hit that Hail Mary against them, so not recently.
No, but I mean, Halloween's on a Sunday every 6 years or so.
Well,
Yes,
goddamn. Okay.
sometime in the not so distant past.
I guess they probably played Denver or something.
It
No,
was-
they didn't.
It was the Monday night game, or no? It was a Sunday. It was the Brett Favre game at New England.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre game at New England.
Ooh.
Is that the good year or the bad year?
The bad
That's the
year.
bad.
28-18 game was competitive, and
Hey, that was the Randy Moss return as well.
Randy Moss came back, and he liked New England. So there.
Back from the dead.
And folks, Lounge 193 in the books. We're not.
Oh, yes, I remember this guy, Charlie.
Stacking those.
I gotta check that
I
out.
got this one. Van Gundy.
All right, folks, we'll see ya tomorrow night. World Series, maybe some college basketball next week, and I believe next week we will be a mere 48 hours away from election time, folks. So get hard about it. It'll be very exciting.